Alright everybody, welcome back to J Solo Arts. In this video we're going to be doing something a little bit different than our norm. We're going to be doing a clip and build of the Skaeth model from the Warhammer Underworlds Beastgrave core set. So let's not waste any more time, let's get clipping and building. All right, welcome to the workbench, everybody. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a little clip and build from this Warhammer Underworlds Beastgrave set. This is from the core set. This is the Skaeth's Wild Hunt. They're kind of a centaur / minotaur type creatures from the Warhammer Underworlds game. Specifically Beastgrave. So I was given this by a client to build and paint for him. He gave them to me on sprue without the directions. So I think I've gone through and looked at most of the pieces. I've marked them with little dots to let me know which ones to clip off so I can not waste time clipping things off on the video. And I think I've got it all figured out, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing, I've got my sprue here. I've got a couple sets of sprue clippers. This one's a little bit more of a blunt tool. This is what I'll use to do what I call it's a 2-clip sprue removing technique. You kind of use the duller instrument to clip closer to the sprue, and then you come in with a finer sprue clipper. This one is a flat edge clipper. You can kind of see it's got one blunt end, you can see it there, and one flat end, so it kind of slices as it pushes this plastic up against the blunt end. This is from company Gundam Planet. I've had this for quite a while. I used to clip many Gundam pieces off of sprues with this clipper. It's gotten good use. Again, there it is. It's kind of a knife blade going up against more of a flat edge to slice the sprue closer to the model. Then we've got our X-Acto blade, doing a little cleanup on it. If we have time, we'll get to that in the video. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is clip down the center of this to separate these two sprues, make life a little bit easier. Set that one aside. We'll start with the base. Again, I've got the tool edge faced away from the piece towards the sprue and clipping there so as not to damage the piece. Because as you see, it stresses the plastic. You don't want that plastic being stressed on your game piece or your model piece. Clip there. Ooh, that one's a tight one to get into. Clip there. Alright, we'll set that aside. You can see the nub marks that are still there, the nub pieces. And we'll come back through with our flat edge clipper. Clip those. Kind of help eliminate your nub marks. Kind of see they are still visible there, but they're they don't really stick out beyond the piece. So we'll set that aside. Next piece we'll clip off the big body portion here. Now there is a little piece here. It kind of looks like a nub, but it's actually part of the model that you have to use in the push fit process to get it into the holes you see there. You don't want to cut that off. You'll be in trouble. You have to glue that back together. So we're going to give ourselves plenty of room so as not to damage that piece. Actually, let's clip off something not so delicate. Let's get start with this back here. Occasionally on those delicate pieces, like a tail or a thin leg like that, if you clip that one first, it can twist the piece and do some damage to the piece sometimes. So we're just going to take a big hack right here in the middle. And this finer piece down here, the leg, I'll go ahead and clip him. And we'll clip that tail. And then down here, grabbing the piece for the last clip so it doesn't fall off. And we will clip there. Setting that aside. Got our piece here again. So we'll come back with our flat edge clipper. And there you see that piece there is the post that goes into the base. So you don't want to clip it at the hoof. You want to clip it below the post. Nice and easy. Okay, let's get this little tail nub here. Now, he has all kinds of little spikes coming off there, and that nub looks just like one of those spikes. So be careful not to clip off the spike. There you go, get that nice and clean. All right, now his back, the one there kind of came off pretty flush, so that one's not much of a nub mark to clip off there. So we'll come under here, clip his elbow and knee, trying to keep that as clean and as close as possible. All right, setting that aside. We'll come back to the other half of his body right here on the other sprue. Start with the big piece of his back, clip that off. That there. Don't want to do that. Let's go ahead and get him there. Where are we still attached? There at that hoof. Let's do that. All right. Dropping the pieces. Coming back through. Clip the hoof. And the back piece. Alright, looks like we got most of that taken care of. Set that aside. And all our little nub pieces, always collecting. Alright, let's get this guy's body. He's got a really cool rack of horns on his helmet. Looks like he's going to have a really cool pose. Since he's kind of delicate, let's just go ahead and come in with our close nippers, our fine clippers. Clipping him there. And we'll grab the piece so he doesn't fall, and we'll clip that there. Again, on this model, he's got a nub there that you don't want to get too close to. That's going to hold his shield on the push fit. We do have his last nub on his shoulder we want to remove. Done there. Getting that close. Come back with the X-Acto. Really neat looking figure. Alright, what else do we have to attach to this model? We've got his horse armor. Clip that there. Just one little nub to remove there. You come at it from kind of the backside angle. Alright. Looks like we've also got, there's another piece of his horse's armor. Clip him here. That one, perfect example for the X-Acto blade. It's come through and delicately shave that back down. All right, and nub is invisible. All right. Looks like here we've got a piece of his shield. They use the flat edge clippers, getting it as close to the piece as possible because they're not leaving us much room to get a double of that one. So we'll get in there with the big clippers and clip that there. Come back through and remove. Don't want to do that because there's a point on his shield we don't want to. You know what? In this case, I'm just going to use the X-Acto knife again and just get that at the base, just like that. Get that nub removed. All right, they all look pretty good. There's a little piece there. We come back through on the back side. And we get that. It might not be the most visible nub mark because it is on the back side of the shield, but I'm trying to get them all removed here. One thing I hate that comes from building Gundam are nub marks. They are frustrating and they can be difficult to remove. All right, so I think we've got all the pieces from this sprue for our character removed. So we'll set that aside. I think what we have left here is just his arm and spear, and that's a very delicate piece, so we're going to come in with the finer nippers and get it close to the piece so as not to stress it, and remove it just like that. Come back through, check the piece for the nubs. There's a little one there. That's going to be delicate. You want to hold the piece close to where you're scraping, so again, not to bend it or break it. And just shave that nub mark down. There we go. And we had a little one on his arm there. Carefully, you don't want to destroy some of that detail. We've got an elbow and a muscle, so we want to kind of shave just little pieces off at a time. All right, we'll come back through maybe with the sander and get those, but right now that looks pretty good. Okay. Clear our nub pieces away, make sure we don't throw away any model pieces. And here's our guy. So we're going to come back through and do the build part next. All right, we've got her all clipped off the sprue. And I'm going back and looking and seeing there's some nub marks that are still there, and they're in tough places to get knives or clippers on. So what I've got is a great tool. I love this thing. It is the Mr. Hobby G-Tool Cordless Polisher Pro. Looks like an electric toothbrush, but on the end of it here you can see is just a sandpaper pad. Little 800 grit, 1000 grit. I don't know, this is the one that just came with it in the package, and I haven't changed it for quite a while. You see it's well used. But we'll get this on these little areas. Fire it up, just vibrates. Sand down that nub. Just get it so it's not going to be visible, and the pad helps to keep the curves of the sculpt. It helps to it's a soft sanding method that keeps the detail. There's another one. Let's get that one. You can just really work around those curves, keeping the detail and eliminating that nub mark. It's also great for panel lines. Probably not panel lines, seam lines. So when you see seam lines on a model, just very lightly you can take this sander and go over them, and it gets rid of them without really losing any of the sculpted details. Here on the saddle area, kind of get in there, get that taken down. I haven't seen too many bad panel lines, or probably again with the panel lines, the mold lines on this one. There's a little one on his back here, very faint. Just kind of drag that across very lightly. Just removing that ever so visible seam line on there. So we'll do a little bit more work on that, and we'll be back for the build. All right, we're back. That was probably about 10 minutes for me and about 2 seconds for you guys. So we've got the model clipped, sanded, nub marks removed, some minor seam lines removed. We got 10 pieces, and you may be saying, you only clipped off 8. Well, things I forgot were his crazy hairdo and his this crazy little tuft of grass that goes into this base. I thought, well, there's only one speck that goes in, nub that goes into the base. Where's the other piece that goes into the base? It's a crazy little terrain piece, a little piece of grass. So let's get to constructing. From the best I can tell, we begin with these 2 pieces. Pretty straightforward there. We push them together, getting a nice tight fit. Next piece is our main body, from everything I can tell. Push that in there. Fits well. Now I'm going to assume, probably go to this crazy hairdo. Have a mohawk with a braided ponytail. Push that in there. Is that how that goes? Best I can tell, that's there. Looking good. What a badass looking character. Alright, next we're going to go to his spear arm. Got it raised up. Throwing position. There we go. Got him in there. So now he's looking ready to stab somebody on the battlefield. Look at that. That is really a dynamic pose. I like that. That's a neat character. Next, we'll put carrying his shield. Find the peg in the hole there. Slides right in. Now his horse body armor. Games Workshop directions probably have a easier way to do this, but I'm just going the best I can figure out. All right. Put him back in frame. That piece probably would have been better to put on first before his shield, but we're doing it the J Solo Arts method. Get him in frame. Well, let's remove the shield. Because it's push fit and not glue, you can do that. What a great thing. Thank you, Games Workshop. I'm not opposed to push fit models. Not at all. All right, let's get him in there. All right, we're gonna pause here just to get this piece in. 1 second. And I'm back. Okay, so hindsight being 20/20, put the horse body armor before you put the shield on. It makes it quite easier to get at that piece. Probably could have realized that, but, you know, onward and upward. Okay, so now we're going to attach it to the base. let's put the little grass tuft in the middle of the base here where its piece goes through. I've noticed sometimes these pieces, don't want to lose you, sometimes these pieces do need a little bit of sanding around the edge of the push pin. Got a little plastic, needs to be sanded down a little bit. That was part of the problem with that horse body armor, is that it had a little plastic flashing on there. I'm trying to just get that so that it slides in, but not too much that it falls out. All right. Guess it can rotate. That looks like the best way right there. And it goes. And now for the push gently as I twist to not do any damage to that leg, which is a very thin piece. But right there, we're just going to call that good enough for now. Because again, I may come back with a part separator and pull some of these off so as I can get to do a little partial build in sub-assemblies so I can get access to things like more into chest area and things like that, get underneath here to paint under his shield, those kind of things. So we probably will be pulling some of this back apart and painting, but just for the construction, clip-off sprue, and assembly of this model, this is what we wanted to show. So thank you very much for tuning in. I know this is a little bit longer video, but there was a few processes involved. Please subscribe, give us a like, leave us a comment if you see something I did wrong, which I'm sure there are all kinds of things I did wrong here. But you can follow us on social media at Facebook, capital J, Solo Arts, and on Instagram, lowercase j, Solo Arts. So please subscribe, like, give us a follow. Thank you very much. Have a great day.